Analytics is a really popular risk profiling tool built into it, but a little known feature within what we call the investment planner is the ability to bespoke the questionnaire. Now, this works particularly well for firms that are quite happy with the first part of that ATRQ process. They already have a questionnaire that then feeds into a kind of a numerical range of results. But what they don't really have is then a suite of reports that allows them to very quickly analyse the portfolio and compare against existing, etc. So they can use Investment Planner, not for the first part, because clearly they've already got a process that's not broken, so we're not going to try and fix that bit. But what they want is to use the Investment Planner to build their first part of their process into it, and then use Investment Planner for the reporting. Now, this could work on a number of different types of firms. Restricted firms this works particularly well for, your SJPs and your open works of the world, who again have a fixed mandated risk profiling process, but not necessarily a suite of reports. Advisors across Europe, particularly in Ireland, they work on a kind of a 1 to 7 scale. We have quite a lot of users using it for that purpose. And there are risk profiling tools. Philometrica comes up quite a bit, again, that have a very, very good front part, ATRQ, again, that numerical result, but not so much, not very strong on the reporting side. So we get a lot of advisors using that and kind of bootstrapping it onto Investment Planner. So how does that work in practice? So our Investment Planner tool, when you're on analytics, it's over here on the left-hand side on the portfolio tools, Investment Planner, and it loads it up. And again, clearly, if you want to use the value one, absolutely fine. You don't need to touch the system and adjust it. But there is a settings tab at the very top here. Go to risk questionnaires, and it loads up the default one, eValue risk questionnaire. And incidentally, you can add additional questions for the knowledge and experience section of that particular questionnaire. But also, if you open it up, these are the other questionnaires that I've personally built into the system. I've got 3 of them. So SRRI are basically the KID risk ratings. That's quite popular across Europe to do a 1 to 7. Risk profile 1 to 10, I might have a risk profile that does 1 to 10, and I again want to use Investment Planner for the reporting, so I'll set one up for 1 to 10, and again a restricted network like SJP. How do I create my own version? We just got to click New up here. It's a very, very simple process. I can call my risk questionnaire test ATRQ. And how many risk profiles do I want? I just need to keep hitting the add button. I might just want 3, and I'll call that one risk level 1, risk level 2, risk level 3, whatever I want it to be called, balanced, cautious, defensive, etc. And I can add a pretty meaty risk description in there as well, and that will pull through on that final report. I can click on save, and once I've done that, let's just click on one that I've done earlier. I'll use that SRI example. There are 7 of my risk levels, so I've got risk level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a risk description of each one. Now, I can link investment solutions to each one of those risk profiles, because when I go through this now on analytics, if my clients just come out as a 4, I'll select risk profile 4, and then I want the system to give me a load of investment solutions that I deem appropriate to risk level 4. Now, that could just be my model 4, or that could be life strategy 20% with Vanguard, or a range of multi-asset funds. I could be working on a panel, so I could have my entire panel load up. Again, this is bespoke, so it's entirely up to you what loads up. But if you click on portfolio risk linking in the bottom right, it loads up, in this case, the 7 risk profiles that I've just created. Let's give that a second. Here we are. And on the right-hand side, it tells me what solutions I've already linked to each risk profile. And to link a portfolio in analytics to each risk level, you've just got to hit the edit button. I won't bother doing this now, but it opens up that risk level. I select the portfolio or portfolios that I want to be included within that risk bucket, so to speak, and then I can save it, and that basically sets up the process in the background. Now, when I want to use it, I've only got to spend about 10 or 15 minutes just setting up and configuring it at outset, and that's just kind of one job to do. Once I'm done, then the next time I run the ATRQ, word of warning, you've just got to make sure that is the new default. So if I go back to where I was a second ago under risk questionnaires, it's still the value one's going to pop up. So I want to officially make my SRI ATRQ the default, so set as active. Again, I only got to do that once, so that's now the active ATRQ on my account. And if I skip back to clients, let's rewind, let's go right the way back to the start. I've got a client, it's called David Andrews, so let's just do a risk profile on him. He's got a portfolio sitting in analytics, it's a pension policy, and I want to compare that maybe against a recommended solution that I'm offering. So click on Start Plan in the top right hand corner. Let's just call this plan, whatever the date is, what's it, 14th? So let's just say 14th of the 10th plan. It is a personal pension, so I can illustrate that there. And does he have an existing portfolio? If he doesn't, ignore it. He does have an existing portfolio. It's in my analytics account, so I'm going to select it here. It's called David Andrews. There we go, David Andrews pension, and I can click on save. So that's the first bit done. The second bit is to usually do the ATRQ, but I can skip that bit because I've already done that supposedly elsewhere, and my ATRQ results are in, and clients just come out as a 4, let's say. So under my risk level 4s, there's the 7 that I've created. I think it's going to be a risk level 4. There's a risk description that I've again put in myself, and it gives me a little notes box there, so I can maybe discuss the fact that he's already filled in an ATRQ elsewhere, refer back to the results if need be, and then I can click on save. So I've done the first 2 bits pretty quickly there. Created a plan, set the results, and now the third and final bit is just to pick the investment solution that I'm going to move forward with. And if I click on suitable portfolios on the right hand side, clearly all of those portfolios that I've decided to appear will now miraculously appear, and I want 3 solutions to appear: my model 4 and 2 of these dimensional funds, because maybe in my imaginary advisor world, my centralized investment process for my high-end clients is going to be down my models, so I'm going to pick for this client the model 4, but maybe for the lower-end clients they just get a very simple multi-asset solution like dimensional world allocation. But it's up to me. Clients come out as a 4, he's now going to get my model 4. This does give me a neat little ability here to very quickly compare the proposed solutions side by side, and also it pulls through his data as well, so I can see how well my solution's done against his. But if I confirm selection, that's now me done. I've set up the plan, I've picked the right risk profile, and now I've gone and picked a decent investment solution that I want him to use. And again, the main purpose of using this tool is for the reporting at the end. So if I scroll down to the bottom to report center, it loads up all of the kind of the mini bits of the report I might want to stitch together. I won't go through every single one of these today, but just be aware you can click on open at any stage. It opens up the particular part of the report on the fly, so you can take a look and decide whether you like it or not. Now, I would imagine 99.9% of the time you're going to want a cover page and the actual risk result to say that the clients come out as a 4. So that's pretty much a given. Then you'll need probably one of the next 4, because these reports are basically designed to show the client the investment solution you're rolling ahead with, whether it's a comparison or not. Now, this is a comparison because it's a switch, so these 2 are particularly good for that. If it wasn't a switch and the client doesn't have an existing portfolio, you'd probably use one of these 2, which is just going to focus on the solution, again, you've selected for him. Personal preference, I quite like switch reports, I'm going to use that here. This is quite a big portfolio. I could add all the fact sheets and kids documents, just for speed I won't bother. I'm going to have a little signature page at the very end. If I click on generate, I'll give that a few seconds, but obviously it's taken me 10-15 minutes just to configure that all together. But thereafter, to run a risk profile report for someone is only going to take me literally a matter of seconds. Again, just quickly create an ATR or a plan, then select the ATR, and then you've got a nice report at the very end of it. So again, theoretically, that process shouldn't take more than about a minute. If I zoom out a bit, every page will have your logo. So that's my cover page, that's my ATRQ results, because again, client came out as a 4, so that's the page I wanted to appear just to explain the risk level. And then underneath that, this is quite nice as well, the switch report. If I zoom in a bit, it says, well, look, this is your existing portfolio, David, this is the proposed portfolio we're now moving ahead with, but let's compare them. Let's look at the risk, let's look at the charges, let's look at the diversification, the risk, the drawdown, the volatility. Scrolls down a bit more to show performance. So you've got asset allocation on here as well, the asset allocation differences. And essentially that's why we're going to be selling these funds and buying these ones. And again, there's 4 different types of reports here. So that's a switch report, but as I said, there are 3 others that just are subtly different to one another. And again, it's personal preference, just which one you want to stitch in. And the very bottom, a little signature page where you can get the client to sign it and date it to say, yeah, I've obviously done the ATRQ over here. We both agreed that I'm a 4, and I'm perfectly happy with my investment solution here. Now, there are loads of reports in analytics that will kind of compare portfolios and just look at individual portfolios on a reporting basis, but our investment plan is one of our newer features, and the reports on here are pretty slick. So again, if you're following a process you're quite happy with, or maybe you're restricted, you can't really shift away from it, but you feel that what's lacking is the reporting bit at the end, and you want to somehow again kind of bootstrap them together, just be aware you can still use our risk profile, just ignore our ATRQ, build your own, and then use it in exactly the way that I've just done there. Hope you found that useful. As ever, back on this main screen, any questions about this, click on contact us on the left hand side and contact our